if you think about a continuum, and you've got at one end a consultant, and then at the other end, you've got a kind of therapist, psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle, you have a coach.
Yeah.
And as a coach, if you're driving your car, the coach sits in the passenger seat and will ask you questions, find your blind spots, reflect back to you in that mirror things you're saying, raise your self-awareness,
Yeah.
and then that gives you the empowerment and the fuel and the self-awareness to have the drive of a lifetime and find the right journey for that person. I had to come away from quite a lot of social media, and I obviously had to put posts on there to grow my business at the same time. But I'm very easily distracted. But that again is, I'm being honest, I'm very self-aware because of my coaching.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, that looks like, oh, we'll go and do that. Yellow, everything's nice. So if I got sort of down this rabbit hole on social media, it was dangerous, that all compare and despair, all that kind of thing.
So if you could go back to the beginning of your business, what's the one bit of advice that you would give yourself?
I'd say consistency, in that a lot of my coaching is around time management, procrastination, wanting everything now. I'm certainly one of those people,
Yeah.
Obviously that whole social media, instant gratification, everything just comes to you. So you start a business, you're not going to just overnight get all, well, I was thinking, oh, I'll pay for all this. It doesn't happen overnight. So it's just daily changes, daily steps, and it's living it like a piece of music. You don't fast forward a piece of music to listen to the last note. Vulnerability, I would say, is something that any entrepreneur that is vulnerable opens up and doesn't know it all, doesn't know all the answers, doesn't have all the answers, asks lots of questions.
So tell us about the proudest moment that you've ever had as a business owner.
I've just won an NHS tender, and it's just literally, the contract was signed officially last week.
Yeah.
And it's to work. It's not just me alone. A couple of other coaching companies across the UK have won it too. And it's to work with 200 senior execs in the Northumbria Trust.
What would be the advice for someone that's starting out in business?
Be prepared to make a complete fool of yourself and make lots of mistakes. Growth mindset, don't pretend you're someone that you're not, because otherwise you might as well go and work for another business.
Do you suffer from imposter syndrome?
I certainly do have moments where it kicks in. And I think a lot of that stems from, I'm from a really, council house upbringing, funny old upbringing, and I've kind of had to fight hard.
Yeah.
And I certainly, with money, I have a funny relationship. That is, we all have it to a point. I think it's more about how we manage it and how we use that energy effectively. I think if you have imposter syndrome, it's because you care.
That's probably one of my proudest moments, is actually seeing what clients actually achieve. What's the book? What's the podcast? What's the person that you think people should follow if they're looking for inspiration?
I think this is a must.
Yep. Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of, 100%.
Yeah. Mindset. But you said
read that one.
Influences, though. Gosh, it's really, an obvious one is, he's not a coach or anything, but I love the interview, Steve Bartlett, his podcast. I just can't get enough of it.
What service would you recommend to a sole trader looking to grow their business and boost their self-confidence?
I think raising your self-awareness is key, and finding someone you trust to talk to.
Definitely. I think one of the other things I've heard over the years as well was surround yourself with people that are better than you. And I remember always thinking, no, I don't want to do that because I'll get overtaken in the rung of career and art. What's a load of rubbish. Yeah, I've got lots of people valued that are a lot better than what I am. in certain areas. That's brilliant. That actually allows me to raise my game.
But just final, that productivity thing you mentioned about sharpening the saw, that is a piece of advice I'll give to every business owner. And it is work at your most productive times.